A broke kid walks 400 kilometers and changes fashion forever. Imagine you're 13 years old. Your father just died. You have zero money, zero connections, and you're about to walk 400 kilometers across France on foot. That is exactly how the story of the world's most profitable fashion brand begins. Louis Vuitton arrived in Paris with nothing. He took a job as a trunk packer for the wealthy, folding silk dresses, wrapping delicate hats, organizing the possessions of people who had more money than he could imagine. And he studied them. He noticed. Rich people don't just want storage. They want order. They want status. They want someone to understand that their things matter. In 1854, Louis opened his own shop. His first major client. The personal court of Emperor Napoleon III. Empress Eugenie chose his trunks for every royal journey. In 1854, that was the equivalent of going viral to 50 million followers overnight. Within months, aristocrats across Europe were placing orders. Louis Vuitton was no longer a name, it was a destination. The monogram that became a money machine. After Louis died in 1892, his son Georges faced a nightmare. Knockoffs everywhere. Factories across Europe were copying the striped canvas design and selling fakes for a fraction of the price. Every fake sold was money stolen from the family. Georges needed something impossible to replicate. In 1896, he created the LV monogram. Interlocking letters, floral ornaments, a pattern so specific it was essentially a legal weapon. It became the world's first logo designed as armor. Result: fakes drop 60% within a decade today. LV spends 15 million a year fighting fakes' irony. Fakes now validate the brand's desirability. Georges didn't stop at the monogram. He invented the tumbler lock, a custom combination mechanism that couldn't be picked with a standard key. Better yet, one master key worked on every trunk in a client set. A countess could order 10 trunks and open all of them with a single key. No competitor offered this. It sounds simple. It generated years of premium pricing. At the 1900 World Fair in Paris, Louis Vuitton won gold. American buyers. Japanese buyers. Russian aristocrats. Georges understood something no fashion house had grasped yet. Luxury has no borders. The wealthy everywhere want the same thing, to be recognized as wealthy. Louis Vuitton was ready to sell them that recognition. Wars, scandals, and the man who bought it all. This is the part Louis Vuitton doesn't put in its advertising. During World War II, the Vuitton family actively collaborated with the Vichy regime, the French government that worked with Nazi occupiers. They sold goods to Nazi officers. They were given exclusive access to continue operating while other businesses were shut down. When investigative journalists exposed the full extent in 2004, the scandal nearly destroyed the brand's reputation in France. LV was forced to acknowledge the truth publicly. 1987. LV merges with Mot Hennessy, creating LVMH. Enter Bernard Arnault, a real estate developer from northern France. He was considered an outsider. Within 2 years, through a series of aggressive financial maneuvers, he controlled the entire group. The Financial Times called him the wolf in Cashmore. He was about to transform a luggage company into the world's most valuable luxury empire. 1987. Invests $15 million, gets 24%. 1987. Invests $15 million, gets 24% of LVMH. 1989. Controls 43.5%, becomes chairman today. LVMH worth $350 billion plus. Arnault net worth $200 billion plus, richest in Europe. By the 1990s, 1 in 3 bags bearing the Louis Vuitton logo worldwide was a counterfeit. The counterfeit market hit $500 million a year, money flowing directly out of Louis Vuitton pockets. They hired private investigators. They raided factories in China and Turkey. They had tons of confiscated goods crushed by bulldozers at customs. But every time one factory closed, 3 opened. And here's the bitter irony. The fakes proved the brand was desirable. Nobody counterfeits a brand nobody wants. The exact strategy that prints billions every year. Louis Vuitton is the only major fashion brand on earth that has never held a sale. Not one discount. Not one clearance rack. Unsold items are destroyed, incinerated, rather than marked down. This sounds insane from a normal business perspective. But Arnault understood. A discount is a confession. It says the bag was never worth the original price. And the moment you say that, the dream dies. Louis Vuitton doesn't sell bags. It sells the belief that the bag is beyond price. Retail margin, held at 4,045%. Consistently price increases, 510% annually. Demand unchanged. Speedy 25 bag, 2003. $595 2024. $1,730 result. Second-hand value often exceeds retail. Let's talk about the actual numbers. A Speedy 25, one of Louis Vuitton's most popular bags, costs approximately $150 to $200 to manufacture. It sells for $1,730. That's a markup of over 700%. Where does the other $1,500 go? About $400 is retail and distribution. Another $300 is marketing and brand maintenance. And $800? That's pure brand premium. You are literally paying for the story, the history, the recognition, the right to walk into a room carrying something that says, "I made it." Breakdown of a $1,730 bag. $150,200. Manufacturing cost $400. Retail, logistics, staff $300. Marketing, campaigns, shows $800. Pure brand premium, profit. Collaborations. 2003. Marc Jacobs invites Japanese artist Takashi Murakami to reimagine the monogram. The result is cartoonish, colorful, controversial. And it sells out instantly. Then Supreme in 2017, 300-person queues around the block. Yayoi Kusama in 2023, another media frenzy. Each collaboration creates what Louis Vuitton marketing team calls scarcity events, manufactured urgency. A queue is not just a queue, it's free advertising worth millions, and proof that you are not for everyone. China became Louis Vuitton's largest market through the 2000s. They opened 50-plus stores. Revenue from China hit $4 billion annually. Then in 2012, President Xi Jinping launched a sweeping anti-corruption campaign. Gifting luxury goods to government officials became a criminal offense. In 1 year, Louis Vuitton China sales dropped 30%. 4 billion became 2.8 billion. Overnight. It was the most expensive lesson in political risk that fashion had ever seen. Under Arnault, LVMH didn't just grow Louis Vuitton, it bought the entire industry. Dior, Givenchy, Bulgari, Tiffany & Co. For $15.8 billion, the largest luxury acquisition in history. By 2023, LVMH controlled 75 brands. Group revenue: $93 billion. Profit: $22 billion. Bernard Arnault became the richest person on earth, briefly surpassing Elon Musk. All of it started with one trunk maker's son on a dirt road. Can anything stop Louis Vuitton? In 2018, Arnault made the most surprising hire in fashion history. Virgil Abloh, a Black American DJ and designer with no formal fashion training, became LV's menswear creative director. It was a scandal, then a triumph. His collections sold out. He died in 2021. In 2023, Pharrell Williams, a rapper from Virginia Beach, took his seat. The first show. Standing ovation. Revenue in menswear: up double digits. The lesson: the right cultural figure is worth more than any advertising campaign. Gen Z doesn't just want a beautiful bag. They want to know who sewed it, whether they were paid fairly, and how much carbon it cost to ship it from France. The second-hand luxury market, platforms like Vestiaire Collective, hit $50 billion globally. People are choosing pre-owned Louis Vuitton over new. It cuts into margins. And it raises a question Louis Vuitton has never had to answer before. What happens when your customers stop needing you to be new? Louis Vuitton arrived in Paris with no money, no name, no connections. He died not knowing his name would outlive 2 world wars, 7 recessions, 1 pandemic, and the rise of the internet. Because what he built wasn't a bag company. It was a mirror. One that showed people who they wanted to be. And for 170 years, generation after generation has been willing to pay, more and more, for a single glance in that mirror. That is the greatest business model ever invented. Louis Vuitton.